the knock that still traumatizes me. Ever since I moved to this house, I've heard knocking on the walls, short and heavy, like a heartbeat in the dead of night. Every now and then, the walls would rhythmically chatter with the bangs, always waking me up. It didn't make sense. I thought it might be squirrels, but no. I called pest control to investigate the attic and check some walls, and they found nothing. They said it was probably just poor construction. I can't remember their exact words, but I do remember that after they left, the wall banged 3 times louder than before. The house shook, scaring the crap out of me, but then it stopped and went back to the normal knocking I had grown used to. It's been 2 weeks since they left, and I still don't know what it could be. That paranoid part of my brain whispered about ghosts, but I dismissed those thoughts. I was a fool for doing so. One night, I woke up to the sound of wood being torn apart. It scared me so much that I immediately called 911. I told them I believed someone was breaking in. They told me to stay calm and that help was on the way. The dispatcher instructed me to stay quiet, lock my door, and hide in my room. I did as she said and waited. In the silence, there was no knocking. I didn't realize until I sat and listened. Pure silence for 2 minutes. Then, I heard knocking on the front door and a yell explaining that it was the police. They told me to come out with my hands up. I got up and quickly but carefully sauntered over to my door, opening it to find the police officers. They asked my name, which I gave, and if they could come inside and look around. Of course, I agreed. As I sat outside waiting, I felt uneasy, but that was most likely because I was still scared. The officers came out and explained that they didn't see anything suspicious except for a basketball-sized hole in my wall in the hallway underneath the attic. They asked if that was always there. I said no, and they suggested it might be termites. They advised me to contact pest control because termites can be a real pain to deal with. I thanked them for their time and went back inside, closing the door behind me. When I turned around to lock it, it was already locked. That confused me, but I chalked it up to me turning the knob when I walked in. The knocking was still gone, which was both confusing and unsettling. The constant background noise had become almost comforting, and its absence was jarring. I headed back to my room, flipping on the lights. I swear I heard footsteps behind me, but when I turned around, there was nothing. I thought fear was making me hear things. I got to my bed, and my blankets looked more ruffled than when I left them. In my panic, I must have messed them up. I turned my lamp off and laid down in my oddly warm blankets. I tried to doze off, but my heart couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. So I opened my eyes, looked around, and made eye contact with something in my hallway. It had milky white eyes that reflected the moonlight in a stretched-out human form. It knocked on my wall as it approached. Thump, thump, thump. I screamed and recoiled, but then it slinked back into the hole in the wall. I started to dial 911, but then I felt a warm, dry breath on my neck. By the time I tried to run, it was too late and I was snatched. I awoke in a very cramped place, feeling like I was sandwiched between 2 walls. The air was thick and musty, with an oppressive weight bearing down on me. The darkness was complete, pressing in on all sides. I started banging and knocking on the wall to alert anyone of my presence while I still could. I was gagged and couldn't reach my face due to how cramped I was. There was a dime-sized hole in the wall I could see through, my salvation. But then I saw myself bringing a nail up to the hole and holding a hammer. As I struggled, fragments of my final moments replayed in my mind. The warm breath on my neck, the eyes in the hallway, and the unnerving silence after the pest control visit. I had ignored the signs, the ruffled blankets, the footsteps behind me, the hole in the wall. Each knock had been a warning, and now, with no escape, I realized too late that the house had been trying to tell me something all along.